Welcome. We are back. I am back. Mike is here. We're doing a podcast. This is a super intelligent podcast. We have been away for a month or two, something like that. How long has it been?
Somewhere between a week and 6 months. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. I have been in a vortex because I had a baby. I unexpectedly had a baby a month early. I mean, it was expected. I knew I was having a baby, but the timing was not expected. We had planned, I don't know if you explained this last week, actually, we planned to reveal that I was pregnant. And then a day later, I had the baby before we could do the episode.
Yeah, it's amazing, and maybe the baby just didn't want us to, he wanted to beat us to the punch. Sounds like he's a little journalist, wants to get the scoop
Exactly.
before anybody else talks about what's happening. But yeah, I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad this podcast is back because I really enjoy doing it. And I've also noticed you're still on maternity leave from PC Mag.
Yep. Yeah, I have a good maternity leave, but
yeah, they're rolling out some of your previously published stuff, republishing it. I noticed at least one, and you're doing a series of TikTok videos where you talk about the background and the lives of some of the biggest entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, or biggest titans, I guess, or whatever you want to call them. And you've done 3 so far. They're very entertaining. We'll link to it in show notes. But what persuaded you to do this? It seems like a kind of a big project, research wise.
Yeah.
And then basically the content is you're walking in the park, or in the woods or something.
So I'm totally out of the tech news cycle. Like, I have actually no idea what's happening in tech right now. So don't ask me about what the latest AI XYZ is, who launched what. I don't know. But I just thought, I don't know, it's maybe just a way to keep my mind occupied. It's kind of easy. Like, sometimes I'll get 10 minutes, I'll research a little bit about these lives of these people. So I did Sam Altman, Elon Musk, and Jensen Huang, all of whom have pretty interesting stories. And it's just been something that I can slot into small chunks throughout my day and then get out for a walk because the weather's finally nice. And if you live on the East Coast, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a miracle.
I don't. I've been living in Tuscany, where the weather has been average.
What a response.
But also, we drove. We were on a road trip to Paris. I'm currently in Paris, and when we drove through France, the weather was glorious. It was, I'm sure, every bit as glorious as New Jersey, but
probably a little more glorious if I had to take a guess.
New Jersey lacks the wineries of Bordeaux. And other things,
Yes.
but it has its own charms. But I'm glad it is spring, and I'm glad you're out there doing this. It's a really interesting, and I've been peppering you with suggestions about hardware that you should spend money on. So easy for me to do. To tell you should spend money. But
I kind of take pride in my wired headphones. Like, they look terrible on the video, but I'm kind of just. I need to get over it, but it's like I think wired headphones get a bad rep. Like, they have a lot of distinct advantages.
Yeah, I like it. I like wired headphones, but it's another thing to deal with. Right?
That's a negative. That's a legitimate negative.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there are legitimate positives, like not charging, like the fact that the ones from Apple only cost $20, so you can lose them. They fit. Right. They fit kind of like a irresponsible lifestyle very well.
They can go through the washer and the dryer, and they still work, which is amazing. So which is the first one you did? It was the first one Sam Altman?
So I did Sam Altman first, and he ended up being in the news at that time. That was news that did reach me. There was the Molotov cocktail that an anti-AI person put at his house. What else happened? But what's been happening with Sam
Ronan
Altman?
Farrow did a 60,000 word piece in the New Yorker.
That's it. Right.
And I read that. It was epic.
Did he talk about the lawsuit from his sister, though?
He didn't, and I was surprised by that. But what he did say in subsequent interviews is that they looked into those allegations, and they couldn't find any evidence for them, and so they didn't report on them. And I
That's
thought that was interesting. I mean, the lawsuit is a fact, right? Sister's
right.
claims are a fact. But beyond that, they were unable to substantiate anything and
Right.
even find people who suspected that of him in his early years.
And
So,
that's, I think, the only journalistic decision you can make with this type of thing, given where it is now. So basically, Ronan Farrow's piece was about how most people who, or a lot of people who know Sam Altman find him deceptive. They've called him a sociopath. They said he has no regard for the truth. And, maybe he's a people pleaser. He just tells people what they want to hear, but it ends up being a lie. So it's kind of like, well, I'm definitely not pleased now that you said that. But there's no way to verify these claims from his sister that he molested her. So that, for example, is a good type of thing I can cover in a TikTok because I'm not doing it for PC Mag. Whereas PC
right.
Mag, I've known about this. I've been following this lawsuit for a year, over a year or something. I've never written about it because it's like, what are you going to
Where does the lawsuit stand right now?
She actually just updated this month, so she's like continuing to go, and it's still live. And then she actually has another lawsuit as well about against her mom and Sam for not dispersing her deceased father's estate to her on time and not as much as she was owed. So there's a lot going on with Sam Altman and his sister that no one's talking about because it's kind of confusing. It's like, is that real? It just feels like slanderous if it's not, and there's no way to prove it. Like, how could anyone prove it?
Well, that's why it's going to court. But like the allegations are he said, she said, but the lawsuit is a fact. And with
Yes.
new details of the lawsuit, I think you should really own this story and cover
Mm-hmm.
everything that happens in that lawsuit, because he's a pivotal character. And the New Yorker piece, if I may, because we want to talk about your background on him mainly, but in the New Yorker piece, the this people pleasing thing is a kind of, it's true, but he's also very self-serving and weaselly, and it began at Y
Yes.
Combinator, even before
Easily.
that. Yeah, so he would do things like this whole thing. OpenAI was supposed to be a company that put humanity above profits, and they even had in their mission that if another company, say Google, was first to AGI, they would shut
Mm-hmm.
down the whole operation and throw all their money at Google to help them. So it's extremely
Right.
ethical, based on ethics. So Sam Altman appears to have gone to these major, engineers and architects and convinced them to join the company based on this ethical stand that they took
Mm-hmm.
at lower salaries than they could make elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would go to the investors and he would have the opposite story and say, we're going to make a ton of money. It's like, it's all about profits. Everything's
Right.
just going to go. And so these allegations, if true, represent lying, not people pleasing or telling people what they want to hear. He's basically conning people for money,
Hmm.
essentially.
Yeah.
So
So in
he's,
that case, there's a little. I'm just personally a believer of where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, I don't know what, the truth actually is, but there usually is something wrong in a situation like this when all these people say something. The board ousted him as CEO in 2023, I think it was. Like, there's something wrong with Sam Altman. Um, the sister thing, though, nobody's really touching because no one wants to get reporting too much on a sexual misconduct case.
yeah,
Reuters did write about the April update, though, that she amended the case. So Reuters, you can talk about the case because, like you said, it's fact. It's a case that's filed and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
live. But yeah. So did you think the piece was good, the Ronan Farrow piece?
Yeah, I thought it was very good. It wasn't the delivery of a smoking gun, like, like what's his name? The Hollywood guy who is still in prison, Harvey Weinstein. It wasn't like that.
Right. Right.
Um,
Which he did also, Ronan Farrow, by the way.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But there was, like you say, there was so many things,
Mm-hmm.
so many people saying the same kinds of things for so long. And none of these people saw the whole elephant. they would describe their part, but the story was really the totality of the story was the whole elephant of
Right,
accusation.
right, right.
Um, and it's like, like the Bill Cosby case. Bill Cosby said, the women were lying. 60 of them were lying.
Right,
It's like,
right.
yeah, that's a lot of accusations, and there's lots and lots and lots of people who make accusations about this kind of weaselly behavior. My biggest issue um, with the apologists for Sam Altman, who basically say, yeah, though, there's he's basically a salesperson. His job is to raise money. These kinds of people have to, tell people what they want to hear, et cetera, et cetera. AI is so dangerous and so powerful and so culture changing, like global human culture is being radically changed by the
Hmm.
decisions people like Sam Altman are making, that we should have a super high bar for their intentions, for their ethical behavior. We need the charter that OpenAI originally had, and people who are committed to that charter, not somebody who uses that to sort of con people, and then just is very irresponsible about safety. I mean, there's all kinds
Absolutely.
of things where he's firing people, reducing the budget for safety. He ended up with this negotiated settlement for the safety team where they would get a certain amount of resources. Then they give them the crappiest servers, like in the company. There's just a million of those little things
Hmm.
where he's just kind of like cheating and kind of just doing dishonest things like
Yeah.
constantly. And
And deceptive and disclosing, not disclosing certain things. And that's important because when you have kids who, they take their life and those conversations they've had on ChatGPT are linked to that, you want someone who's going to disclose that and address that issue super head on. And if
yeah,
Sam Altman is going to be a weasel, I love that you use that word. It's perfect for him.
perfect.
And not disclose something that could kill your kid. You don't want that. You need a very high bar for somebody who's behind controlling a lot of money with a lot of power, which somehow he's found himself in that position.
Right. And we, the public, shouldn't care at all if OpenAI does or does not make billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
We should really, really care that OpenAI um, proceeds responsibly into this new era of AGI and beyond, where so much of our world is going to be determined, so much of our thoughts and
Mm-hmm.
our culture. It's going to be so powerful. It already is so powerful. That should be our only concern with
Mm-hmm.
who's running OpenAI, and
So this is
he's not good
why,
enough, and he needs to go. I'll just say that.
yeah, yeah. All right. I have no problem with that. But that's one reason I'm doing this series is because I think that some people give too much weight and respect to people who have a lot of money and power, even if they don't deserve it. And sometimes learning about their backstory, even the small details of where they went to school, where they grew up, how many siblings they have, it kind of pulls the veil back and you're like, oh, this is just a normal person. And so that's why I'm doing it. Also, I think it's interesting just, how someone gets to this case, or gets in this position.
Yeah,
Um, so, what do we say about Sam Altman? Should we get into it?
yeah. Let's get into it.
So, we start with his just where he was born, and he's raised out in. I think he's born in Chicago, raised outside of St. Louis. His family does not appear to be super wealthy, but definitely upper middle class. Both his parents were kind of white collar jobs, and the biggest indicator about their wealth is probably that he went to an elite private school, and the tuition today costs $38,000 per year. And you don't
Wow,
really
for high
have
school.
for high school. Yeah, that's
Wow.
yeah. So they had some money, but there's no indication that they are super super wealthy in the way he is now, or even close. Um, he has two brothers and a sister. He's the oldest. And basically the video is about how he was smart, he did well at school, but he really struggled with his sexuality. And he had a quote that said, growing up in the 2000s, gay, it wasn't the best thing. So he struggled if
Mhm.
he should come out at school. Something I didn't get into in the video was actually this one group protested something about being gay or alternate sexualities or something. And he came out at school and did kind of a speech and was like, well, I'm actually gay. And what kind of place are we going to be here? What kind of school do we want to be? Like, this is who I am. So he had this big coming out moment at 16 or
Hmm.
17. But basically, that was huge for him. And his sexuality and his coming out story really defined a lot of his childhood. And also, that is one reason that Annie Altman, his sister, who we just talked about, who's suing him, she claims that some of the molestation was because of his repressed sexuality. So,
Hmm.
again, who can prove it? Nobody.
Right.
But that's a big thing about Sam. A lot of people don't even know that he's gay.
Right.
People don't know basic things about him.
Right. And that's true. And the other the other point, and he's married, right? He's married and
And he's
has
married.
a child. They
Yeah,
have a
so these videos are a little
1 year
bit,
old or something.
yeah, they're a little gossipy just because I think that's
Hmm.
fun and I'm on maternity leave
Hmm.
and I'm entitled to have my fun. So I don't go through his whole resume. You know, he founded a
Right.
bunch of companies, blah, blah, blah. Great. I'm just like, well, he founded a company and also he dated his co-founder. So the first
Yeah.
company he founded when he dropped out of Stanford is called Looped. It was like Apple's
Hmm.
Find My Friends before Apple had that. You could see your friends' locations, which was novel at the time. And he
Yeah.
was also dating the co-founder, Nick Sivo, for 9 years, which is a very long time. I guess that
Yeah.
didn't work out. In 2024, he married this guy named Oliver, who is a very handsome Australian engineer. Where he
Hmm.
found this guy, I don't know. I didn't get into that. They got married in Hawaii in 2024, and they welcomed a son via surrogate shortly after. So they live together
Right.
in a $27 million mansion in San Francisco.
Hmm.
And that is just one of 6 homes that Sam Altman owns. So he has a
Okay.
big real estate portfolio. It's worth 120, $130 million total. I'm sure it's more than that. Those are just the estimates, but
Yeah.
that's what he's got going on. He's got $2 million sports cars. I mean, the guy's doing well.
Yeah. He's doing all right.
Yeah.
And he also uh base part of the his sexuality part.
Hmm.
He also told Ronan Farrow that he was attacked in his youth. I think he maybe was in high school or college age or something like
Mm.
that. Because he was gay, he was attacked by some thugs in the street or something like that, and he claimed that he doesn't like to talk too much about it because he doesn't want people to think that he's just trotting out a sob story trying to get sympathy for people or whatever. But the indication in the article was that this was somewhat a big event in his life that really
Right.
profoundly affected him.
Right. Oh,
But
one thing is this relates to ChatGPT today. He spent a lot of time in AOL chat rooms where he felt like he could be himself.
hmm,
Did you ever go in AOL chat rooms? Is
I
that
I
probably
used
not?
AOL. I don't remember chat rooms or
They were
yeah.
huge. Huge.
Okay.
I was in them as well. I probably shouldn't have
I
been.
was more of a Prodigy and CompuServe guy, but like,
Nice. Yeah, this is like one of the early ways you could just be talking to people around the world, these chat
yeah,
rooms where they're kind of anonymous and they were on AOL,
mhm,
like beep, 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 like that kind of AOL.
yeah,
And he felt like he could be himself there. And I do feel
yeah,
like ChatGPT, a lot of people think that, I
mhm,
can describe things to ChatGPT. I can't tell my friends. And so that was kind of
mhm,
his internet experience growing up, which could inform his approach to it, with what
yeah,
he'll reveal about users, confidentiality, private certain features. Also, ChatGPT is known for being really personable. It's not, work focused all the time. So maybe he
mhm,
brings a personal perspective to it from his own experience.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and
So what else do you
well,
think?
did you get into his time at Y Combinator and the sort of the blending of Y Combinator and OpenAI? Because I believe OpenAI actually began in like a Y Combinator office,
Yeah.
and he was kind of like, and there was also some shady dealings with his investment in Y Combinator, if I recall,
Right.
where he tends to do this thing where he's like doing investment on the side that's a sort of
Oh
outside of the
yeah.
official
Hmm.
thing. I'm sorry, I don't have the details on that, but it was another weird. There was something weird about what he did at Y Combinator, and then how OpenAI was sort of attached to Y Combinator for the first like couple of years.
Well, I think that's all people need to know is there's always something weird, basically, about his dealings. Like if
Yep.
this narrative could play out over and over and over again. There are so many stories. It's just he's always right on the edge of just like that's not quite right.
Right. Right.
So
Very
one other,
non-straightforward and kind of a double dipper.
yeah, and okay, one other thing. Oh, the doomsday prepping. I don't know if you got to that part in the video.
Oh no, no, I didn't
So
see that part.
one of his uh, properties is a piece of land in Big Sur where he is doomsday prepping. So he's
Wow.
compiling supplies. And this is a trend actually in Silicon Valley. So it sounds surprising that he's doing this, but it's actually not surprising because a lot of super elite billionaires are doomsday prepping, believe it or not.
Zuckerberg is into it,
Yeah.
of course.
They're buying like luxury bunkers. They have so much money. They're like, oh, well, if the end of the world comes, I mean, at least I'll survive. So he's got guns, he has gold, he has water, he has batteries, he has gas masks. So he just has all these supplies and this piece of land right outside San Francisco.
This bothers me so much when those kinds of people do that kind of prepping
Of course.
because they should be focused on making sure it all doesn't go to crap, not like making sure they'll be okay
I
when
know.
it all goes to crap for the rest of us who don't have a bunker in Big Sur.
It's just
It's
such
just
a like
disgusting.
money equals you survive the apocalypse.
Yeah,
Like that's the
right.
worst thing ever.
Right. It's the ultimate privilege, surviving the
Ultimate.
apocalypse. Yeah,
Right.
really bugs me.
And he's so into his kid. Like he thinks
Hmm.
that he's God's gift because now he's a father. He talks a lot
Hmm.
about, it changed my life, it changed my perspective. I don't really see any changes in Sam Altman. Is his charitable giving
Right.
increased? No. I haven't heard anything
Yeah.
about that. Is he doing anything differently? I don't see anything. He's still raising money, he's still cutting deals. I don't know. He tries to portray himself as this sweet father, and so when someone did that Molotov cocktail at his house, he put out a blog post and the images
Right.
of his kid, which is kind of saying like,
Right.
"Hey, don't bomb us. We have a kid." And
Yeah.
I just don't know if like I just had a kid. Of course, it's very special, but I don't think you can use that to say I'm moral or something like that.
He just seems to be in the habit of using whatever he's got available to paint a picture of himself
Right.
as a good person, and it's like, yeah, it's lots of people have kids. It's not,
Lots of people.
and not everybody has the financial means to physically protect themselves and have fencing and security guards and cameras and all the things, whatever. I mean, I don't know how his house is laid out, how close it is to the street,
Yeah.
what happened exactly. But I do know that 99% of the population is much more vulnerable to violence than he is.
Totally.
And
And
so
yeah, I'm
somebody
trying
threw
to
a Molotov cocktail on his roof and nothing happened. And now he's like, you know, acting like he survived a legitimate serious assassination. There's one disturbed 20-year-old kid who's just a, loser, and Sam Altman's a famous person doing
Mhm.
stuff that, the kid probably had a conspiracy theory about AI or something. Who knows what was going on in his mind? But this is the world we live in. People like Sam Altman and Elon Musk and all the rest of them, they have the means to really protect themselves and their kids.
Oh yeah. And I think maybe he's trying to say I said he's trying to portray himself as moral. I just said that, but maybe he's just trying to be relatable, like, hey, I'm a person too, don't bomb me. But he is not relatable and he never will be. It's just because he has a kid does not mean he is part of the general society and anyone should I don't know. It's like he wants to get sympathy, but it's like your kid has so much money, like you just said, so much protection. You guys have all these properties. You're going to survive the apocalypse and let all of us die. So,
Yeah.
and he's getting rich on that narrative that made that person crazy. Like he is going around the world saying, I'm losing sleep about how AI is going to take everyone's jobs, how it's going to reinvent society, it's going to upend A, B, C, and D. that's the same narrative that that person probably latched onto, and they were probably not in a good headspace, so it didn't. They put a Molotov cocktail around his house, which is not normal behavior, of course. But he's
Right.
also getting rich off of peddling that narrative, like, oh, look how powerful my technology is.
Yeah. And it was kind of, he wrote that blog post, and it was ostensibly about the fire, the Molotov cocktail, but it was really about the Ronan Farrow. That was the real Molotov
Ah,
cocktail, because they kind of coincided, and he knew it was coming out. I think he wrote his blog
right.
post like a day before it came out or something like that. And they worked on that. It's for journalists like you and me, this is just a shocking fact about the New Yorker, but they worked on that piece for 1 year
Mm-hmm.
full
Mm-hmm.
time. Could you
Mm.
imagine spending it? I
Full
mean,
time. Wow.
that's a book. And
Right.
again, 60,000 words.
Right. Wow.
My
And Ronan
column,
Farrow, what?
my columns are typically like 1,200 words. This was
Right.
60,000.
You could do
Uh,
60,000 in a year. Um,
oh, sure, yeah, in a year. Give me his expense account, and
right.
I'd be happy to do
Right.
that. Yeah,
So do
absolutely.
you know who he is, right? He's Woody Allen's
Yeah, yeah,
kid.
yes, and Mia Farrow's his
Right.
mother.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yep.
he has money. He has the ability to work on Sam Altman for a year. I remember I had my Google Doc about everything I hate about Sam Altman. I made a list. I could
Yeah,
have done
right.
that probably around the same time. He did, but he just is a better journalist than me and has more money, so he had a whole year to work on it. But I got my TikTok
Do you
video. It's 2
do you
minutes.
think do you think you could have written, if you, so he wrote it with, who did he write with? He had, there were two authors on it. It wasn't just him.
I don't know.
Um,
I could have, with the research, with the backing of the
with a
New
year,
Yorker, with a year.
and also and if you were, I'm calling from I'm doing a piece for the New Yorker. Like, that opens all the doors.
All
I'm
the
Ronan
doors.
Farrow, so that scares the crap out of everybody.
Exactly.
Because of what, how he's like, who he's covered before and how he's covered it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
so that, I mean, he does great work. He's
He
a
does.
very good writer. He's a very responsible journalist. It's strange that somebody who should be just another nepo baby is actually doing his own career and doing it very well at a very young age.
Yes.
So I have a lot of respect for him. But oh my, you and me, give us a year in his expense account.
Yeah, and a
We could have
famous
done
name and famous parents. We could.
totally. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but I will say one thing I also liked about that is that it punctured into the mainstream, and I do think, as we've talked about, journalism is struggling to do that these days, and they did a full on press assault in terms of, like, he was on talk shows, he was on, yeah, we're talking about TikTok, I guess he's on all the social media. He was really, really pushing this piece in a way I thought was appropriate and good, and I found people picking it up and interested in it, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Look at this journalism being relevant. Yeah.
right. He was everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
he was in 10 of the podcasts, like
Yeah.
all within a couple of days. It was really breathtaking how
It was
the
great.
media outreach on this. And it reminds me, so the journalism, or I guess the book that had such a big impact was that book the guy wrote about uh, the effect of social media and smartphones on kids under 16. What was that called?
I
Um,
don't know.
it was called the Lost Generation, or I don't know what it was. Or,
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
yeah, that was the main uh, push behind Australia and all these other countries
Mm,
banning
big.
schools and kids, social media and phones in schools for kids under 16 or 13 or
Mhm.
whatever it was. And so that was amazing to see that kind of an impact from
Yeah.
a book.
Right.
So
What's great about maternity leave is I don't have to know any details. It's like there's just no pressure. I'm like, I don't know what that book's called. So I invite
yeah,
you. I invite you
what's my
to.
excuse?
You're talking to me, so you just have it.
I see.
We can just be like two old people with dementia on a porch, just talking about tech.
Yeah, except you're faking that. For me, this is okay. Let me see
So
here.
that's yours, and I have mine. So we have our excuses, and we do what we can.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look it up actually.
Oh
So
yeah, the
he,
internet. You could also use that.
yeah,
I'm just not going to solve the problem for me. I'm just not going to know the details.
you're just gonna okay. So he did it with. So let me see. So the headline was Sam Altman may control our future. Can he be trusted? Came out in April, and his co-author was Andrew Marantz.
Mm.
I don't know who that is, but he was on some of the interviews. I heard they interviewed both of them, um,
Hmm.
and yeah, it was really good,
Cool.
really good piece.
My
And
last
your piece is really
conspiracy
good too.
theory. Thank you. It was just a quick video. I did try to make it good, but I told you I printed a script. I was walking around,
Right.
the park filming it. But
Yeah.
my last conspiracy theory about why he didn't talk about the Annie Altman sex abuse case and this piece, the 60,000 word piece that he had a year to work on, and he didn't drop one hint. Did he even mention that she's suing him?
I don't think so.
I think he completely took it out, which is an interesting. So why did he do that? One reason, if we're being gossipy, is his dad is Woody
Right.
Allen, who has quite a bit of allegations about shady sexual relations. And so maybe he felt that would open the door to people talking about his past, which I'm sure he is just trying to bury.
Yeah, for sure, and that may very well have had something to do about it. He talked about it in the. He really emphasized how responsible they were. They really emphasized how responsible they were in their reporting and their accusations, their claims, all that stuff, which is true. But I also think that the New Yorker itself would not allow. They're so fact checked and so.
Right.
They have to be so solid. All the claims in a New Yorker piece have to be
Right.
so solid.
But they
So,
could mention it. And are they irresponsible for not mentioning it?
I mean, well, first of all, I'm not certain that they didn't mention it. I read the whole piece so I'm looking that up actually, and
Yeah.
according to
What do you
Gemini,
see?
they didn't mention it.
I don't think they did because nobody was
Um,
talking about it, because that's the kind of thing that if you put in a piece, people are like, whoa, what the heck? That's just
yeah,
something you hear. Like Sam Altman's sister is suing him because she said he molested her throughout their childhood. And by molestation, it's full on rape to everything. I mean, it's like serious allegations. So
wow.
it's not just like, in the playground, touching her butt or something. I don't know how
Mhm.
detailed we want to get. It's like really
Yeah,
bad stuff.
yeah,
And if you hear that, you'd think someone would pick that up and be like, wow, the New Yorker brought this to my attention, but they did not. So
right.
I have actually messaged with Annie Altman. She follows me on TikTok. I follow her. I have looked at her videos. We have chatted a bit. She does not want to talk to me about this right now, but she does message me. And when she filed another case about her father's estate, she did message me and was like, "Hey, did you hear this?" I think she wanted me to post about it. She's cool-ish. She is a little wacko, so it's
Mhm.
possible they talked to her and they were like, we don't like this girl or
Not credible.
something. I don't know, but
Hmm.
anyway. So anyway, should we talk about Jensen Huang, Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Who's next?
Yes. Take your pick.
Hmm. Are we sick of Elon Musk? Is everyone sick of talking about that guy?
Yeah. Kind of. I mean, he's back in the news because they're SpaceX is going to do a IPO, and
Okay.
XAI is part of that, and XAI is losing tons and tons of money, and
Yeah, he's
SpaceX is
he's flailing right now.
yeah, SpaceX is a big winner, and XAI is a big loser, and they're combined, and
Hmm.
so that's interesting. He's also you know the Doge story never quite dies
Yeah.
because whenever there's a disaster or something like that, well, Doge cut this, that, and the other thing. Whenever there's like a
Mm-hmm.
need for weather, whatever, Doge had an effect on that. The Strait of Hormuz is being blocked, which is blocking a lot of fertilizer from getting through, which is going to really affect the third world. So it's going to be massive famine, and it's going to be double what it would have been because Doge killed USAID.
Right.
So he shows up in the news in still as a based on the Doge thing.
Got it.
The
Yeah.
Doge Bros have been interviewed. The interview was taken down. Then it was forced to be put it back up, and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah. But I'm pretty fed up with him.
Yeah.
He's very annoying. But his childhood was very interesting, right? He has really interesting parents.
Mm-hmm. And this is the kind of stuff I haven't seen covered too much. So yeah, he was born in South Africa. Again, not everyone actually knows that, which yeah, it's true. Some I've talked to people. I think it was my aunt. I was saying he's South African, and she was like, "He's South African," and I was like, "Yeah." I mean,
Wow.
sometimes we're so in the weeds with these people, we don't, it's hard to get out and just kind of zoom out. Um, but he had a wealthy family, a notably wealthy family, and he was bullied severely as a kid. Another thing people don't know is that he is on the autism spectrum, which he has confirmed himself very publicly in his opening monologue when he hosted SNL, I think in 2021.
Yeah.
So he struggled with social cues. He was skinny and just didn't quite fit in. Didn't know how to respond. It wasn't a cool guy. Also, not a great student actually. Whereas Sam Altman and Jensen Huang were both notable students, Elon was not. He just struggled. He struggled a lot. His parents got divorced when he was young, so he's struggling at home. He's struggling at school. His dad's a huge jerk. So
Yeah.
basically, he at one point the kids at school throw him down concrete stairs and beat him so badly he lands in the hospital, which is terrible. And he gets out, and his dad says, "Well, it's your fault. You provoked them. You called them stupid. You should stop calling people stupid." And that's just heartbreaking. Can you imagine that? You get out and your father says it's your fault, and you just got out of the hospital from being bullied so badly. I mean, that's terrible.
Not good. Not
Not
good at
good.
all. And his mother is still like a model, right?
Yeah, his
Like,
mother
isn't
is
she?
a stunning older woman with white hair who used to be a model. Yeah, I don't know if she's still
But I think
modeling.
she still does modeling. I think she
Well, for
still.
like Talbots or something. I don't know.
I don't know who her clients are, but
I
she's
don't know. Yeah. And another weird sex abuse thing, though, with this story is that five of his family members recently accused their father, the same guy who's a jerk, of sexual
Errol
misconduct.
Musk.
Errol Musk of sexual misconduct on them. So some parallels here, just kind of shady, unclear sexual behavior that is not okay. This is something the New York Times reported on extensively, but he hasn't been convicted. So again, it's not something people are referring to as fact.
Yeah.
But five different people, and I guess they have appealed to Elon to sort of help them with the cases or with who knows what. And Elon hates his dad, says that his dad is evil, and they don't speak. So it's pretty safe to say his dad is not a good guy. To what extent that claim goes, we may never know.
Yeah.
So
He
that's a
doesn't
bit
sound
about
like
him.
a good guy.
No.
And what are the circumstances under which Elon Musk left South Africa? Was he
He
an
was
adult?
evading military service as
Okay,
a
which is
late in high school before college. Yeah. So he went to
and his
Canada.
mother was a Canadian citizen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that he went to Canada, which not only would get him out of military service in South Africa, but would also, I guess, pave a faster road to get into the US, where he wanted to go for university.
I see.
So he enrolled in university in Canada and then transferred to, I think, UPenn outside Philly. But yeah. And then his maternal side, this is my personal, interesting to me and my family, which is that his maternal side has the same heritage that we do, which is extremely niche and like uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
Uh-huh.
reading his Wikipedia and it was like, Elon Musk is of British and Pennsylvania Dutch descent. And my eyes bugged out. And I was like, wait, some Pennsylvania Dutch, like that's what we are. Like nobody is that. It's not a famous, cool thing. And meanwhile, the richest person in the world is of that descent and like nobody talks about it. So that's his maternal side. His maternal grandfather was a really crazy man
Hmm.
who I share heritage with. I also think he was the Wikipedia page says he basically was a racist, not good guy as well.
Hmm.
He moved the family to South Africa because one thing he wanted to do was find the lost city of Kalahari.
For fuck's sake.
So he led multiple expeditions in his tiny, like, propeller plane, his private plane. He's going around Africa looking for the lost city of Kalahari, and ultimately he dies in a plane crash. So
I shouldn't be laughing. I'm
that's
sorry.
my guy. That's
Wow.
my
That's amazing. That's
shares
your
my heritage. That's
distant
it.
relative. It'd
He
be.
might be, honestly. It's a small group, and my family is
Have you done
absolutely from the
23andMe?
heartland. No, I haven't.
Okay. I wonder if Elon Musk has. They tell you who all your cousins are and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna make it sound like inbred or something. It's absolutely not. But
Oh,
basically, it's called Pennsylvania Dutch. There's this region in Pennsylvania where these people immigrated to the US, and
they're
that's
not really
like,
Dutch, right?
no, it's a misnomer.
They're
Wow, look at you.
German.
German. Yeah.
Yeah,
How do
I've
you
heard
know
that.
that?
I heard it somewhere. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
anyway, so and that's exactly where my family's from, like, on farms still in that area. So
Hmm.
that guy, if he's anyway, but he is not a good guy either, and he's the total wacko. But I like that he did expeditions, I have to say. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, looking for lost cities. Well, I mean, I like the people who are not like basing it on some fable and actually find lost cities. I see all these old photos of them digging, you know, Mayan ruins out of the hacking them out of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. That's
jungle,
not
and
good.
I would love to do that, but
I
not
know.
fabled cities, not Atlantis and stuff like that. So
Well, I think I had a rant on a previous episode that I wish we did more physical exploring,
yeah,
because it's typically you think, oh, Christopher Columbus or in the 1800s, all those British guys. No, this guy, Josh Haldeman is his name. He was doing this in the second half of the 1900s. So go him.
yeah, that's cool.
So that's Elon Musk. Little factoids about him.
All right, all right. Well, tell us a story about Jensen.
Jensen, another
Yeah, what's
parallel
his
with
deal?
Jensen, more bullying in his story.
Really? Hmm.
Yep. No no lawsuits of sex abuse, so we'll reserve that for Sam Altman and Elon. But Jensen Huang was born in Taiwan, so he has an immigrant story. His parents moved him to Thailand, and then they sent him and his brother to live with his aunt and uncle in Washington State in the US.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Kind
they
of a
sent him alone.
fresh Prince of Bel Air situation.
Yeah, they sent him alone, and said he was sad, he was scared during that time.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's Washington.
More like the not being with your parents thing and being sent
Oh,
around
okay.
the
Yeah, that
world.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there could have been the Sasquatches in his backyard. I don't know.
Didn't that something like that happen to Bruce Lee? Didn't Bruce Lee like get shipped off to Seattle or Washington? Something
Yeah,
like that.
he is.
From
He is.
Hong Kong?
Mhm, yeah.
Something like that.
Um, yeah. I guess just talking about myself, I think that these personal stories they make you think more about yourself a little bit. But my
Hmm.
grandfather also came to the U.S. by himself, so
Mm.
I do know
Wow.
that was difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's sad, he's scared, and then something terrible happens to him, which is that his aunt and uncle send him to what they think is an elite prep school in Kentucky, rural Kentucky. They think that this is going to be his ticket, his upward mobility. Turns out they're wrong, and it's a reform school
Right.
for
They
poorly
thought they'd be
behaved kids.
surrounding him with all these elites,
Right.
and they were
No.
surrounding him with juvenile delinquents.
Yes, just miscreants. His roommate doesn't even know how to read. So this
Wow.
is not an elite prep school. So he's sent to basically a reform school and he's scrubbing toilets. His brother's also there. His brother's working on a tobacco farm. They just have him, doing labor as a means of reforming your character kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's one school of thought. He's also getting bullied. He's, of course, the only Asian student. This is the 1970s in rural Kentucky. He's an immigrant from Taiwan. I don't think there were that many of those.
Yeah.
So he's getting bullied. He's having a terrible time. And his parents, though, they come to the US 2 years later, they pull him out. They're like, what the heck is going on here? They take him out of Kentucky with his brother, put him in public school in Oregon, and he does great there. And he's doing great academically. And he's also, another fun fact, becoming a ping pong champion.
Wow.
So
I
he's
did
great
not
at
know
ping
that.
pong. Yes. So he
Wow.
scored third in a national tournament at 15. So he's just an excellent ping pong
Incredible.
player. Go
Hmm.
him. And then his story's a little boring, a little average in the best way possible. Happy for him. You know, he goes to college, he gets his master's, he gets married to a nice young woman. And then at age 30, he meets up with some friends at a Denny's, which is where he actually was one of his first jobs was at Denny's. Do you know Denny's?
Yeah. Oh,
Like not everyone,
absolutely.
it's kind of dead now. Denny's.
You know, I see them all over the place. I think it's more of a West
Oh, okay.
Coast thing because they don't have real diners in the West Coast.
Got it.
So it's like a corporate diner. They're always packed. I'm
Hmm.
like, who are these people? What's going on? Why would anybody go there?
I
The
would
food
go
is
there.
horrible. I
I
mean,
miss Denny's.
in LA, people would go to Denny's on I think it was Hollywood Boulevard or Sunset Boulevard at 2 o'clock in the morning
Oh
after
yeah, I've
drinking,
been
whatever.
there in that
Yeah,
scenario. Yeah.
yeah, and it was great for that. You know, you have pancakes at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
but yeah, they're packed. I think they're doing okay.
I saw one in Japan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my husband wouldn't let us go. He was like, "We're in Japan." And I was like, "But it's
Yeah,
Denny's."
yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
we went to just as an aside, we went
oh, I
to
can
four of
linger
us
on
here
this
today.
aside, sure.
Yeah, yeah. We went to a this like perfect French like bistro type cafe thing. Is like in every way the most French place you could imagine, and we all got smash burgers, all
Oh,
four of us.
they have
So
smash burgers?
they had smash burgers, and they were amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
really, really amazing.
Did you get a
So
cigarette and a coffee?
no, I got an East Coast IPA, which was made in France, in Paris. Yeah, they
Really?
have East Coast.
They're
Yes,
getting into
absolutely,
IPAs? I think
they
it's been
are.
sort of delayed getting over
Yeah.
there,
No, well, I mean
IPAs.
IPAs have been around forever. Lagunitas is everywhere in Europe. They're like
Hmm.
huge. But an East Coast IPA, I was really impressed. That's the
Hmm.
first one I've seen in France. And it
Hmm.
was pretty good. It was pretty good for,
Sounds great.
yeah. Yeah,
You know what's
they
also great is IHOP. I went there in the past year and I was like, "Wow, this is good."
really,
Yeah.
really,
I
what's
think
good about it?
they're just injecting, like, flavor chemicals into the pancakes, and they're like crack. They're so good.
Crack like flavor chemicals.
Yes, they're
Great.
like
Wow.
$5, and you just eat them, and your mouth is just like the Christmas lights turn on. You're just like, "Oh my goodness, this is delicious." And it's
Wow.
definitely not for a good reason, you know?
No, and I remember many years ago eating there, and it was like the pancakes were like rubber, like they were very
Oh,
stretchy.
no, they're fluffy, they're perfect. They
Really?
are chemically
Okay.
engineered.
All right. They may have changed. They must have changed the chemistry on those.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Uh,
maybe it's just my local IHOP, but I was really impressed. And
do you have the
probably
boysenberry syrup?
I don't remember. It's so unhealthy. The portions are
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Like I said, they are injected with something unnatural is happening there. They're way too good for $5 pancakes or seven. I think there's a $7 deal now at IHOP.
Mm,
It's
wow.
not good. It's not what we need. But anyway, where were we? Jensen Huang
So Jensen
sitting
Wong
at
went to an
Denny's.
IHOP. Denny's went to a Denny's to what start
Yes.
Nvidia.
So he meets with two friends. One's named Curtis, one's named Chris. I don't know their last names, but it's kind of fun to not know their last names. We'll just say Curtis and
Hmm.
Chris. So they decide to found NVIDIA, and they do. And I actually didn't know NVIDIA had co-founders. Did you?
I guess not. I guess not. I never really looked into their past, and but it was to jump on the video game boom, right? The
Yeah.
need for graphics. So
Mm-hmm.
they were doing graphics chips, and they kind of invented that, right? The idea that you'd have dedicated graphics chips. Or
They
am I
could
mistaken
have.
about that?
I was, again, going more in the gossip direction than the
Okay,
legitimate work history direction. I'm more focused on the Denny's than
the Denny's,
the
then the
business opportunity.
I'm pretty sure that was the great innovation of Nvidia's that they basically said, okay, we're going to have this all these electronics just for the graphics, so that the video game software can really find its full expression, because everything's getting super graphical. And
Right,
we're
right.
talking about what era? We're talking about
93,
the 90s,
1993.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. hmm This might be a great, this is a great fun fact. So AMD is a NVIDIA competitor, current CEO is Lisa Su, is Jensen Huang's first cousin once removed.
Yes. I heard that somewhere. Incredible.
Incredible. She came from Taiwan to the US the same year he did. So she's older, or he's older. Yeah, she's older.
Hmm.
So the two of them, parallel lives, come from Taiwan to the US. She's on the East Coast in New York. He's on the West Coast in Washington. And they both go on to become billionaires on semiconductors.
Incredible. Incredible.
What are the odds of that? I really don't know. And they
Yeah.
never talk about it. They're not pictured together. They're just
Amazing.
separate lives. But
Wow.
so they found NVIDIA, and it's incredibly difficult. Jensen says it's, quote, a million times harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
He has dedicated his life to building that business. He's in his 60s now.
Hmm.
He has two kids. And in one interview, he says that if he could go back, he probably wouldn't do it again,
Hmm.
which is amazing given that he's worth $174 billion.
Right. And he was so successful and basically
Right.
pioneered parallel computing. Um, yeah. I wonder why. I guess it was just
I
brutally
think it was
hard.
just brutally hard. I think it must have had a personal toll. I think he says, just time away from his family. Probably just very difficult. I'm sure maybe he incurred some form of trauma almost founding a company. I think it can,
PTSD.
yeah. He has two kids, Spencer and Madison Huang. They both work at NVIDIA as
Hmm.
of 2020 and 2022.
Wow. What
So
do
I
they
guess,
do?
I don't know.
Hmm.
They're not the CEO.
Yeah.
Um, But in the same breath, I think Jensen Huang's very good at being relatable. So he'll say, I regret it. I wish I spent more time with my family. He'll talk a lot about building character through his immigration story. And
Hmm.
then his business is the least relatable thing ever. If you go to one of his keynotes at CES, or at the keynotes that his company gives, like in Asia, or he'll just go to all these keynotes around the world, and he portrays this absolutely apocalyptic vision of the future where there are robots running everything. Of course, they're all running on NVIDIA chips, and he has this really, I think, kind of twisted view of what the future should look like. And he
Yeah.
seems to love it. He's relishing it. He has these
Right.
flashy black leather jackets that he makes his presentations in.
Yeah.
So I think there are two Jensen Huangs. There's this really soft guy who had a hard past and maybe a hard present, but business, he's just a shark, and he has no intention of slowing down.
And he is to Taiwan what David Hasselhoff was to Germany. Like, he's a big deal
Yeah, he's a
and
huge deal.
huge deal in Taiwan. He's probably the most famous business person uh, in that country. And they're very proud of the fact that he's Taiwanese,
As they
which I
should
think
be.
is really, really interesting. Yeah. But the thing about his cheerleading of all this stuff is really interesting, because they're what I see as um, uh, two different directions for robotics, for example.
Mm-hmm.
One direction is the Elon Musk vision, where there are more humanoid robots than there are people, and the humanoid robots run around town doing all the stuff that people do, and there are
Right.
slaves and there are servants, and they babysit our kids and they mow the lawn and they do all this kind of stuff. And then the other vision, the one that I like better and that I think is more likely, is that everything becomes robotic. We don't need humanoid robots walking around, literally, like, designed after Paleolithic cave people, uh, because everything is robotic. Like everything, the house is essentially got 1,000 robots in it, and I like that vision too. He likes both those visions. He'll spout both of
Right.
them, and all that'll be running on NVIDIA chips, and all those humanoid robots will be trained in our Omniverse, like digital twin,
Blah blah
physical
blah.
AI system, and they'll be running. They'll be powered by the next generation of artificial intelligence, which itself will be trained and running on our chips. And so every possible scenario, he's like super in favor of it because he sees NVIDIA just being the, you know, the biggest beneficiary of those trends.
Right.
And so, yeah. And the other weird thing about him, very surprising thing about Jensen Huang, is that he claims he's never seen or read a science fiction movie or book.
What?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Why does he even talk about that? Like, why? What?
I don't know. I don't
Is
know.
he trying to again sound relatable because the way he speaks is a science fiction movie? So
Well, he talks to a lot of press, and they'll
they'll
talk to
ask
him
him.
about, oh, you want to have robots everywhere, but like, what about? And then they'll mention some science fiction thing, you know, Terminator or whatever. It's like, oh, I never saw the Terminator.
Okay.
And so you know, almost all the science fiction from the late 20th century and aughts and so on is dystopian science fiction,
Hmm.
and it depicts the kind of world that he's helping to build, and
Yep.
it doesn't go well. And so I don't know if he has or has not read science fiction, but he definitely doesn't want to talk about it.
Right. And if it goes astray, he would not be affected because he's probably in the bunker with Sam Altman and the
He's
other elites.
exactly
So he has nothing to lose. Um, but yeah, if I'm definitely mistrustful of these people, but if you do zoom out for a second, that is a very incredible life story. You know, it comes from Taiwan. He goes to this crazy school in Kentucky. He was really just an average kid,
hmm
probably struggling. I mean, I don't think being a Taiwanese immigrant in the 70s was easy.
yeah,
And to go on to found NVIDIA and be in the position that he is, to even that we're even talking about him and so many people are,
right.
is a very incredible life story. So it's interesting.
It really is. I mean, the founding of the company and inventing or pioneering parallel processing and CPUs is amazing. Like
Mhm.
that was one of the most important things from the 90s. And then to pivot and take those same chips and just the fact that they were perfect for the research that was being done on AI for these models, and then the AI explosion happened, and there he was with this chip
Right.
that researchers are already using. I mean, this is amazing. And so um, it's like NVIDIA has had two major careers. The only company that even comes close to that is Apple,
Right.
which Apple kind of was a darling of the PC era. Then it was a darling of the music player era.
Yep. That was a good
Then it was a
era.
darling of the smartphone era. And it's like that's a lot of eras to sort of dominate. Usually, you're one and done, and then you become a dinosaur. So it's pretty amazing
Yeah.
that
He got
his
lucky or
fate.
he had foresight or,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of brilliance, a lot of hard work, and a lot of luck all
Mhm.
together. So
I have benefited directly in one very small way, which is that the NVIDIA PR team bought me a burger.
really, under what
They did.
circumstances?
Well, when you're a journalist, you just
Buttering
kind
you
of
up.
buttering me
Yeah,
up. And
yeah.
I ate the burger. It was at the Smith. Maybe you've been there. There's several around the
No,
country. I know there's one in
no,
Chicago, one in New York.
never heard of it.
I had a delightful burger. And so yeah, I got my my piece
Did
of
you get
his.
chips? Did you get chips with it? Nvidia
Oh,
chips?
oh, ha, ha. No, I don't know. I one of the PR people was talking about how she has when they travel, she's that kind of person with like all the supplements and medication in her bag. And I was like,
hmm
okay,
Yeah.
eating my burger.
Wow. Anyway, it's your series is really great, really fun, and really
Thank
interesting. And
you.
it's great for me to sit on my ass and watch you exercising because it's like I instead of actually exercising myself as I should, it's nice at least to witness it vicariously.
Well,
So
thank you.
no,
I
it's
hope I
really
can
cool.
still
You should
do
keep it
it.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I should. It's going to get a little bit more difficult when my husband goes back to work because I won't be able to go
Mm.
walking by myself,
Yeah.
which will be tough. So you might see a little peep of a stroller or a little.
All right. Here's what you do. mount a camera to the stroller.
Nice. Yeah.
And just push that thing through the park. And you should invent the mobile camera rig / stroller
Yeah. For
system, right?
TikToking mommy influencers.
Absolutely. That is amazing. There's space for extra batteries, for nice lighting. I mean,
Yeah.
this could be very cool.
It is cool. I also feel like it must be a bit unique. Like, I'm not trying to be a mommy influencer. I'm making videos about Jensen Huang and, these
Right.
guys in tech. So I think it's kind of fun.
Well, that's the thing that I find refreshing about the videos is there's so much. You're kind of doing the form of some kinds of videos, but the content of those
Right.
videos are usually pretty fluffy. And you're doing the substantive stuff that's very, a lot of detail in what you're saying. And so it's a nice combination and it's
Thank
refreshing to
you.
me because it's just so much, there's just so much, people spouting conspiracy theories and talking about celebrities and all this stuff. And you're talking about something really interesting. So
Thank you.
I love it. So you should definitely mount a camera and a lighting system and a sound system and all the rest and a teleprompter and all that on a baby carriage.
Yep.
Seriously, you should. That would
All
be
right.
very cool.
I
Yeah.
need you to come and help me with it.
Okay, I will.
Come visit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to announce that the Super Intelligent Podcast is back. And which is to say that Emily is back. We are Mike Elgin and Emily Forlini, and we are going to be doing these podcasts as often as we can. And we're happy you're here. So please give us a glowing review. Check out the videos we're talking about and the other links in the show notes. You can find us on Substack with extra content, but you can also find us on any of the podcast apps. Just search for Super Intelligent in the app that you're using. You can also search for it on YouTube. You can find us on Apple, etc. So subscribe, share with your friends, give us a great review, and show us some love. We'd love to see it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.